This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right, what's up, Dragon Seeds? This is Steven, your host with Photology Podcast. I have my love flag friend Josh on, and we once again have our Maester Hayden here, and we're talking we're talking House of the Dragon, season 2, episode 6. We're up to episode 6 now. We've done this every week, and at this point, like we have to because there's only 8 episodes in the season. We're almost there, and it's been a little slow in the last couple. And I think, I don't know, some people don't like that as much. Let's start there. Are we feeling like something needs to happen? Are we okay with the current pace? What are thoughts?
Um, Personally, so I had said that I thought that it needed to slow down a little bit, but maybe this went a little bit too slow for me. Um, like I'm totally fine with slow episodes, but I still feel like I don't know what the big conflict is going to be for next episode. I mean, I obviously have, like obviously armies are getting into position and we have dragon riders. So like I have faith that they can do it, but I don't feel like I really have the big conflict built up yet for me,
Mm,
like I usually do leading into the penultimate episode of a Game of Thrones slash like House of the Dragon season.
that's right. And you haven't read the book Fire and Blood. You're not
Right.
familiar
Yeah.
with where we're going. So I think that's some good feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I mean, the ending didn't like, yeah, it wasn't ramping up to anything. It didn't feel like I didn't necessarily think the episode was like slow. I did enjoy it. Um, there were just things as a book reader over the last two episodes that were kind of hard to watch, but just some of the changes. Um, But then I was talking to Josh earlier about it, and he was like, "Well, I mean, it all seems natural to me, like not being a book reader. And so that
Hmm.
made me just kind of think I need to just separate the two.
Yeah, I definitely think all the character decisions and growth, like all seem, natural. Like Rhaenyra, I think her getting anxious and like lashing out at those around her like makes a lot of sense. I think that Damon, it kind of sucks to see it, but his like going into this like depressive state, like where he's kind of not taking a lot of action and not really, doing living up to what his own vision of himself is. I It's hard to watch, and again, like it is slow, but I think that it's really good for his character in a lot of sense, just because of the brashness that he exuded in season one. I feel like is finally catching up with him, and he's finally dealing with it, which I think to in order to like really grow as a character, he needs to do. It kind of reminds me of like Jamie in like season 2 or 3 when he's being held captive. Obviously, like mild Game of Thrones spoilers, but like when he's being held captive, like and he
Hmm.
gets his hand chopped off, kind of like in those days of Jamie, like he's not doing a lot, but he's doing a lot of reflecting and like growing and becoming the character that you start to end up falling in love with. So that's kind of what I see happening with Damon a little bit.
I feel like with Damon, how much more of this do we need? Like, this is pretty well established at this point, and I was fine. I've been fine with in the last 2 episodes most of the slower decision. Like it's. I think most of it's fine. I do think they're like struggling to know what to do with Damon at this
Mhm.
point in the season. Like he is a main character. He's Matt Smith. He's kind of like the big, one of the big faces of the show. He's got to be there. He's got to have stuff to do. What is it? And right now it's just kind of like relying on his acting performance to give us something to really get into, which has been great. But at the same time, he's not an active character at all, which is just not as exciting to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I'm hoping that they that it all pays off in some way in the show.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, like Alice River kind of stealing the show from Damon over there.
And we have a lot of unresolved questions. There are certainly things that they are setting up. I'm sure they are going to do with the character. I mean, I have faith that this will be paid off. It's hard to say how much, but right now it just feels like we could be progressing a little bit faster. And especially where we know we only have 8 episodes instead of 10 episodes like last season. It's kind of hard to say, like, okay, we're at episode 6 and we're not like really moving forward too much with at least his plot line. Other plot lines, I think they're doing a great job with, but I think so far his, like, if we look at the season as a whole through the 6 episodes, yeah,
Yeah, he
I
got
mean,
there in what, like
yeah,
episode 2, and then has just stayed
yeah,
there the whole season
yeah,
and hasn't really done anything except for like muck things up. It's kind of, yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of weird.
exactly.
Yeah, there were some things I really did like about this episode. Um, like the whole Stefan Darkland scene. That was phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, Josh, did you get the sense this was destined to fail?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
was, yeah, I made a joke about having like a barbecued night or something when he walked into the room to Mackenzie.
yeah.
She was, yeah. I mean, obviously, I mean, just like in terms of, you know, basic writing, like you have to establish the stakes of what they're doing here. And yeah, they told us it was dangerous, but we have a character that we've seen a few times. We recognize his face. You know, what it's kind of like a textbook way to raise the stakes of this a little bit, you know.
Mhm. Definitely, as far as character goes in the storytelling of the TV show, this guy's super expendable. And as soon
Yeah.
as he comes on screen, it's like, I'm gonna get the dragon. We're like, no, you're
No, you're
not,
not.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of wish that there would have been more deaths. It still feels a little bit unearned for um, you know, there to be like, okay, we sacrificed one guy, but now we have a whole new dragon rider. I will say I
Mm.
don't know if his allegiance is like super. I mean, I don't. I
So
might
you're
just.
talking about Adam,
Yeah, sorry,
who,
skipping to that. Adam.
yeah,
Yeah,
who I guess we assume is the
yeah.
one, right? Like they didn't actually show him riding on Sea Smoke, but I mean,
No, but yeah,
yeah, like it is
you
him,
see
right?
smoke. I think
Stalk
that
of
comes down to
the
like a little CGI budget there, where it's like, okay, we'll have the dragon lower the shoulder, and then I don't know. It seems like that's
Yeah.
may I would be shocked if
I,
it's not.
I'm gonna guess Hayden's got a comment on this, but let's get your impression of yeah, of how this went down and like what's your opinion?
Mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I think overall, this is the writing that I really enjoy in the series, like them kind of slowly showing these characters pop up, slowly building them up, introducing the conflict. And now you're not too sure. Okay, like, okay, so now we have a dragon rider. It's established that the blacks really need another dragon rider. But here's somebody that's been pretty discontented with the blacks, with Corlys, you know,
Mm.
feeling abandoned and kind of almost measure a measure of disdain his entire life. So um, you'd hope that he could overcome that and still support like his family's cause, but nothing's, you know, sure. So I just I like that you have that little bit of uncertainty going into the next episode, that it
Hmm.
goes to a character that doesn't have like their allegiance 100% to the blacks.
What's your take, Hayden?
Yeah, I like that as well. I mean, every dragon is important in this fight, you know? And so seeing yeah, having that kind of uncertainty of the dragon rider, who are they going to side with? um but I thought the whole sequence was kind of funny a little bit. Uh just the way that
Hmm.
like totally stalked Adam and like just chased him down after burning Stefan. Like, hey, I want a different writer. They're trying to put this guy on me. Like, it was just kind of funny.
I didn't really uh, I don't know if that was really like explained very well. Like you say, it's kind of funny, but if you go if you go past like the humorous side of it, it's like, was that good storytelling to just say the dragon now wants a rider and has selected this random person? I mean, it's really hand wavy for me.
Well, there is the, related to Laenor, kind of looks like Laenor in a way. And
Okay.
maybe there, there's some of that.
There's this Laenor's half brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that is the relation, right? Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't
Okay.
really bother me too much. Yeah, like Hayden said, if the dragon feels like they're going to be forced to have a rider on them, then, or maybe, or maybe it's just like coming to accept the fact that Laenor's gone and now wants another, you know, another rider.
Without doing too many spoilers into because this whole like dragon seed thing is not fully played out in the show. But if I remember right, there was more of like a call for people to come try to ride the dragons, and there were some successes and failures. It didn't really happen like this, right? Where dragons are just outright choosing their own riders.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't really bother me. I can see why it would bother people, but they haven't really divin like dived deep into the deep into like
Yeah.
dragon lore in this show, which is, I guess, as a whole, kind of disappointing considering it's called House of the Dragon. But with how they have been a little bit hand wavy with dragons in the show so far. And think about the only other time we've seen a dragon being bonded, it was just when Aemon just like walks up and climbs onto it and kind of flew around a little bit and then accepted the bond, you know.
Mm,
So the stakes haven't really been super high in terms of what they've shown us. We've been told it a few times, but
yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, in all of George R. R. Martin's Westeros writings, like he never has really got real deep into here's how
yeah,
the
I think
bond works between dragon and dragon rider. It's
Yeah, I think they've
yeah.
dug a little bit deeper into it with this show. I mean,
hmm,
you see it a lot better in the show than you do in the books.
no,
Like the whole Melee's um and Rhaenys thing, like that was awesome. That was an amazing scene showing the bond between them. Um, and then just the bond between every rider and their dragon, I think, has been shown really well. Like when Rhaenyra was giving birth, and Syrax was screaming, like the just kind of the mirrored picture of that.
Mhm.
I think the bond has been pretty cool. I just don't know if like the lore of okay, exactly how much blood. Like if Laenor is alive, can he still bond another dragon, or are we now meant to assume that Laenor is dead, or is there a way that the bond can, like there's a lot of kind of those outstanding question that if you're reading like a Brandon Sanderson book, you would probably know going into a setting
Yeah.
like this.
We'd be able to calculate based off the family tree and bloodline and
Right.
everything what the chance of the
With
bond would be
yeah.
with
Yeah,
different sizes of dragons and
And
everything.
again, obviously it doesn't have to be like that. It's just that's what I mean when it hasn't really taken a deep dive into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I was a little concerned with the decision they made with Laenor, like surviving, because of that, because dragons in the books have never been able to claim another rider while the other one still lives. You
Mhm.
know,
Mm.
And then, but again, like going back to season 8 of Game of Thrones, right? It is season 8 when John just starts riding one of Daenerys's dragons.
yeah,
It's
we're
kind
not
of,
going to talk about that.
but again, I'm just saying that when I think about the whole history of every time we've seen somebody claim a dragon in the book, this might be like the coolest one. So I'm okay with it.
It's true.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, I agree. I think the dynamic of how loyal is Adam going to be, or does he have any loyalty? Does he deserve to, like, should he have any loyalty? Is he going to be another wild card? Is he going to be another Damon out there? Just like, I mean, he could join the other side as well, right? Like, we've got this Dragon Rider who's going to offer him the best stuff. I don't know. There's a lot at play here. I think that does create some interesting storytelling for sure. Huh. Anything else on the black side? I guess we could talk about the whole like plot to feed the small folk and turn them against everything over at King's Landing. I thought that was pretty cool as the boats come in, and I suppose that would work. Like, so
Yeah.
the tide just like carries it in, right? They're real
Yeah, they're
close
not
together.
far, from King's Landing. So I guess if
Yeah,
they chose the right day, right time of day or whatever, the
right,
tide would
right.
wash it up.
That's I'm okay with a little bit of hand wavy on that. I don't really mind. I think we can assume that they had the logistics person figure out how to get those
Yeah, yeah.
boats to the shore. So yeah, cool. I think it's a good plan. I think that it's been hinting towards the fact that the small folk are going to come into play. And I really like that Rhaenyra is actually doing something to earn their trust instead of just um, assuming that she would have it, pulling a Daenerys and just being like, oh, as soon as I go, they're gonna all fall in line or whatever. Um, she's actually working to build a rapport with them. And um, I think that with what's her name?
Sorry, yeah.
Massaria,
Hmm.
like with her advice that she's giving, I think that it's a good reason, good excuse to have her in the show. And also just, she's becoming a little bit more of a compelling character. And I like that she has a little bit more of agency outside of Damon because throughout most of season one, she was just kind of an appendage to Damon, at least for the first couple episodes.
Hmm. Does it seem like Rhaenyra is too good of a character as far as her alignment? Like right now, why would anyone not cheer for her? She seems awesome, right? And I'm wondering, is that the feeling we should be having? Like, should we feel like there's more of a balance between the two where they're like the greens and the blacks are equally gray, and we're trying to decide which one deserves to be ruling? I mean, it seems like Rhaenyra should obviously be in charge. She's doing great. I mean, she's her heart's in the right place. She seems to be a pretty good person, but you could go down the list. Like she's way better than anything that the Greens are doing.
Yeah, a Song of Ice and Fire is just built off of gray characters, and Rhaenyra right now just seems like the good, like it's kind of yeah, it's just kind of hard to see
Yeah.
any
I
fault in
mean,
her. I mean, obviously the whole Stefan thing, like, but he
yeah,
wanted to do it, you know, and he
yeah.
agreed to do it, and she gave him the choice, you know, and it's like everything she does is just seems morally right.
Yeah, I think that that's true in terms of her morality as of right now. I mean, I think that there was a lot of sketchy morality throughout the first season for sure. I think that a few things. One is that even though she's not doing anything wrong morally, she's really not being a great leader in terms of, like the war effort. She's being indecisive. She's, not really surrounding herself with good counsel. She's not taking any steps to like remedy the situation with Damon. She's not knowing what to do with her sons, like or with Jace or Luke.
Mm,
Yeah, Jace, right?
I don't know. I mean, she's got Corliss as her hand, probably the best possible choice of her available options. She does have logistical shortcomings in that, like, her best general has is crazy and has flown the coop, and she has no land army, so she's really handcuffed in what she can do. So, I mean, I think from a moral perspective, like all of her actions have really made sense. Like, since she can't do anything without unleashing dragons, which she knows will like destroy Westeros, she tries really hard at the beginning of the season to sue for peace somehow, even like going undercover, risking herself to talk with Alicent. And then once it really seems like it's not possible, then she's like very regrettably entering in, but still doing it with a lot of what's restraint, right? I don't know. I just feel like she's being built up to be like the next Ned Stark, and I mean that didn't go well for him.
Yeah, maybe. The thing is, none of her actions, she hasn't been placed in a lot of really morally tough places. I guess you can say, like, oh, she wanted to just commit all of her dragons, then that might be her best way to win, and she's not doing that. So maybe that is showing some moral restraint. But also, that's kind of like a it's kind of like going all in poker. Like unless you are pretty sure that you have the strongest hand, it's really really risky. And there's no chance that like it's 100% the other side's going to call your bluff in this scenario. So like you can't be she anyway, I can't really figure out how to end that analogy, but like, I just think that Ned was constantly put in situations that challenged his morality, where the easy way would have been slightly more immoral, but would have been justified. She, like you said, she's between a rock and a hard place, true, but there's nothing like maybe a gray path that she can take that to get herself out of it.
You feel like she hasn't been presented with a real tempting yet, leading her down a darker road type of situation yet.
Right. Like if there was a way that she could have, you know, uh, if it would have been her standing over Aegon or something and choosing to kill him while he was injured or something, just something like that. Like, I don't know. She just has been stuck and not doing anything. And so that to me, I guess, yeah, you can say morally she's in the right, but it's been kind of boring to watch her a little bit this season. In a plot sense. She's a great, like, the thing is the actress has been great, super compelling performance. I always enjoy it when she's on the screen, but just thinking about in terms of her plot points, after she got back from going to try and sue for peace, it has been kind of boring.
Okay, fair point.
Whereas
Hayden,
Allison,
what's
oh,
your
sorry,
take?
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, before we get to Allison.
My take.
Yeah.
I mean, same as before. I just feel like, yeah, she's just too good. And we all know how that turns out in Westeros.
Oh
So
boy, that's concerning. Um, I guess before we leave Allison, that kiss kind of came out of nowhere. I feel like there has been some, you know, uh, some sexually charged scenes looking back between them, but it was kind of weird, like digging through trauma and then sharing that kiss. I read that I was reading an article. It was an interview with Emma Darcy. How do you say your last name? Emma
Darcy.
Darcy,
Yeah.
where she said it was unscripted, that the script initially just called for like a look or a breath between them or something, but then the actors decided that a kiss would be better. Um, so kind of interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well. I mean, I wasn't expecting it for sure. I was like, oh yeah, this is a great, like, wholesome moment. And then, whoa.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we don't always need romance. And I think, right, what both of you guys are touching on is they were dealing with some real heavy stuff. And then all of a sudden, straight to the passion. I don't know if that totally makes sense naturally, but
I don't hate it, especially
yeah.
especially with Rhaenyra, and it seems like the way that she does deal with these heavy emotions is through kind of making some dumb decisions sexually, right? Like um between like when she felt spurned by Damon, and then she like immediately jumped into the sack with Kristen Cole, and then uh her whole affair with Lionel, what's his name, Strong, the Strong guy,
R1.
or yeah, it does seem like the way that she deals with those things, like with strong emotions, is through maybe some sexual impropriety. So
Yeah. I
Strong
guess that's
emotion.
fair.
yeah,
We all miss breakbones.
yeah, and she's
Nice.
and
But
no more
about
no more Damon. He's out of the picture for the time
yeah.
being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he almost got out of there
He
this
went
episode. He was ready to run.
he stepped out to get some milk and did not come back. So
Yeah, I was hoping he was gonna just take off on Caraxes. Then there's Alice again.
Did was it hinted that she killed the what was it, Grover or Oscar? Which one was the
Yeah.
which
Yeah, it was
Sesame Street character died?
Grover, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because she's
Yeah,
like, give it 3 days, and then she was supposedly tending to him, and now he's dead.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it was hinted. Which again, she's stealing all of Damon's thunder here.
What without doing spoilers for future stuff, what things Hayden, as our expert maester, what things were disappointing for you as far as changes from the text, like the fact that we're probably not getting nettles.
That's a
Is that a
big
big
one.
one?
That is a big one. I mean, Nettles is one of the coolest characters, in my opinion, in Fire and Blood. One of the most interesting characters. And for them to
Yeah.
leave Nettles out is crazy to me. They had such a good opportunity. And I was hoping still that we might get Nettles, but it at this point,
Seems
I
like at
don't
this point
I
it'd be
kind of
hard to introduce a new
yeah.
character. Yeah.
Yeah, that Damon's whole plot line, and just being just Alice stealing all the thunder and him just kind of I will say I do like the Weirwood dreams, because I do have a theory about Damon, but um I loved like the seeing Patty again, and seeing Millie again. Like that was awesome. Those were some cool
Mhm.
scenes, to watch. I won't say that I liked the scene with him and his mother,
I
and
mean,
I think they could have totally left that out.
Game of Thrones has done, sibling incest. They've done aunt and uncle,
Yeah,
cousin.
but
I
but
mean,
what's
Check all the
what's
boxes.
what's left?
what's the
What's
point
left?
of this one? Like it's just I
It's
don't
kind
know.
of weird. Yeah.
I mean, well, I guess that's kind of getting into spoilers. If they do the Nettles change that seems like they're going for, then that would create another. I mean, I don't think they're going to
Yeah,
do that, but right.
I hope not. I don't
Josh
know.
is like, what are you
But,
talking about?
but yeah,
Something's over my head.
the changes to Reina as well, and her plot line are upsetting to me.
So not
Wh-
not terrible. Not colossal things.
But they could be, for future. Like, yeah, you know how it happened with Game of Thrones. Small little changes or leaving out a
Yeah.
character here and there eventually added up to changing the entire plot line.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about it. You weren't on the episode we did after 4 and 5, or maybe I wasn't, but is Sunfire dead?
Injured.
So, okay, because they said something like
They said
Sunfire's,
Explain
long
why
yeah.
long
maybe.
in the
I think
dying was what the term that they used.
okay. I
Because
think
if
I think it's
that
something
would be a
Aegon or
crazy,
that would be crazy. Yeah, that's true. But I think that they're trying to show that the rider and the dragon are both like deeply injured.
okay,
But I don't know.
yeah, fair.
I'm sure we'll see Sunfire again, hopefully.
That would be the most concerning thing for me because of what it would hint at. But
Yeah.
anyway, before we do too many like vague things that and Josh is tired of us, what other? I guess we didn't talk about Allison. We didn't talk much about the Greens and Aemond stealing the show and recalling Otto, which was really surprising to me. I kind of forgot how the whole thing shook out, and honestly, I don't even remember if that's how it happens in the text. But I was not expecting Aemond to want anyone back running the show while he's there.
Yeah. Uh I mean, could be good for Allison, right?
Be great for Allison. Allison really needs to win right now.
Yeah. Allison's feeling pretty beat up this episode.
Yeah. The
uh
only good thing she has going for her are her brother thinks that one of her sons is decent.
yeah. Yeah, I did like that too. I like the conversation with her brother about Daron. That was a good. Good scene.
A character that we have not seen yet. Will get introduced eventually. Maybe not this season. It might seem kind of weird to introduce a brand new, fairly big character like another royal son at this stage. Seems like a season 3 character.
Yeah, probably.
Josh, your opinions on the events unfolding at the Red Keep?
I really liked it. The looting, or not the looting, but the riot that broke out, I think was maybe one of my favorite parts of the episode, with just um how intense it was, how visceral it felt. You know,
Mhm.
um, I think it, plot wise, it goes to show that they really are driving a wedge between them and the small folk, and that maybe Alicent is aware of it, but Aemond definitely is not, and Aegon definitely was not. And it seems like that's going to continue to build up. I really like how they've shown that through, the different families that have the family that has the sick kid, right? And then there's the
Mhm.
the innkeeper and stuff. I think they've just done a really good job of just telling and not showing. So, or
Yeah,
showing and not telling. I
we
mean,
saw Hugh get a little bit violent there for the food.
yeah.
Yeah.
A
Don't blame him.
character that we like, and all of a sudden he's socking this random guy to get some food. I mean, it shows how desperate it is, right?
Yeah.
That's good storytelling.
It is.
Yeah, so that character is Hugh Hammer, the one with the sick kid, Josh, and the
Yeah. The blacksmith
innkeeper.
blacksmith guy, right?
Yeah, the blacksmith guy. The innkeeper is Ulf the White. Is that his name?
Yeah. Ulf.
Yeah.
And
And
he's like Viserys's uh like bastard brother or something, right? He has a dragon though.
he doesn't have a dragon. Ulf, no.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you
No,
had
he's
vision.
he's just one of the small folk, but he claims to have Targaryen blood. I don't remember exactly what he claimed.
I
Yeah,
thought he claimed
he
to be
claims to be
Viserys's
the
brother.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
the son of
Hmm.
Jaehaerys.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we know we're looking out for that Valyrian blood, so keep an eye on those.
Nice.
Um, what else? What else is going on in the Red? Is that everything? I
Yeah,
think
the
there's. Oh
Laris,
yeah, yeah,
Laris,
right. Yeah,
or
Laris with the miscalculation. I wanted to.
yeah,
Yeah, glad you
yeah.
brought that up.
That was that was kind of a surprising move. I mean, we've seen Laris be pretty in control of everything, but it seems like his control is kind of starting to slip through his fingers as well. Especially with Alicent not in the picture as much anymore. Like that's where he kind of
Uh,
sunk his hooks uh deep into, held her feet to the fire, if you will. And
nice.
and now he doesn't have that foothold.
Yeah.
That was so funny when Eamon like made the comment about like the hand thing, and he was like, "No, go fetch one, you toad."
Yeah. Oof. Oof. That
Oh,
was that was intense, man.
that was great.
I really hope that Loris, is it Laris or Loris? Loris, right?
Laris.
Laris.
Laris, sorry.
Loris. Loris
Loris is
is
the,
yeah, Loris
yeah,
Tyrell from
yeah,
years ago. Yeah,
yeah.
his
Anyway,
plot line is long over.
I hope that Laris is responsible for Aemon's demise at some point. I don't really like
Hmm.
him, but I hope that he gets some revenge. Um, do you see that meme? Did I just text it to Hayden or did I post it? This I can't remember, but it showed a picture of Aegon with his like foot up in the like the sling or whatever on top of the bed, and it was like, don't let Laris in here.
Oh gosh.
It
Yeah.
was pretty funny.
That's so funny. Yeah, and then go like his visit with Aegon was interesting.
Yeah. So he's like struck out with one brother. I guess I gotta hope that Aegon recovers and I can plant some seeds. I, Laris is interesting because I think for us watching Game of Thrones type shows, we're thinking, okay, this type of character is going to be hyper capable in what they do, which is sneaking around and manipulating people and everything. And he's like pretty good, but not as good as someone like Littlefinger from from Game of Thrones up until his luck finally runs out in season 7. But anyway, I think with this type of character, I'm thinking they're not going to make a blunder this bad. But yeah, apparently Laris is maybe not as I guess not as competent
Yeah,
as you would
he
think.
definitely showed his weakness in this episode for sure.
Yeah.
The thing was, when Game of Thrones, at the peak of Game of Thrones, whenever you saw a character put in his plate or like making a mistake, it wasn't so much that they made a mistake, it was more that they got outmaneuvered by another character.
Mm,
Whenever it was
I
like
like that.
maybe between Littlefinger and
And Varys.
and Varys. Just all these
Mhm.
names, man. Between
Yeah.
Littlefinger and Varys, like it was like whenever one of them would miscalculate, it wasn't so much that they miscalculated, it was that the other one had like outmaneuvered,
Yeah.
outplayed
They had
them.
already been ready for their move and they had
Yeah,
something ready to go. Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
And so this one, it just felt like it wasn't so much that he got outmaneuvered, just he just miscalculated, pretty severely,
Mm.
which yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the result of the character is just not quite as competent, or if it's a difference between George R. R. Martin writing detailed political intrigue that we're adapting and just kind of like vague events that writers of the show are trying to turn into something interesting.
true. Yeah,
Probably that.
yeah,
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, we've read a lot of books, and I think George does the best, if not the best, like right up there was as far as political intrigue. Like that's really what makes the show so interesting. What makes the book so interesting.
yeah.
Cool. All right, so we're going on to episode 7, penultimate. So we're expecting big things, right? Typically, we it's what we see in these shows.
Yeah. So
Let's hope so.
I'm staying strong with my prediction that that there's going to be that they might try and maybe another Blackwater Bay battle where they try and launch an assault, because we do know that they have the fleet of ships, right? That's kind of their
Mm.
only leverage, that they have a fleet. So
Yeah,
my
the fleet thing has now been hinted at several times of like we gotta it's a problem. We know that's what's making the small folk so have so much unrest, and Aemond wants to take it out, and Aemond's in charge right now, and Aemond likes going to war. So I think there's a lot of signs pointing that direction. I like that prediction.
Okay, and then I think that they're gonna obviously I don't think wildfire, that green fire
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
obviously that's not gonna come in the picture. We don't, but I think that they will be on their back foot, and then Damon is gonna come in and save the day with some the army from the rivers, or with
yeah,
um
the Riverlands.
the
Okay.
Riverlands, and maybe we might have some graybeards pop in from the north to also tip the battle. One of those two things I think is going to happen, and then uh episode 8 will just be dealing with the fallout from like another colossally, bad battle, like a battle of attrition. Um,
Hmm.
so
Okay.
that's my predictions.
I love that your prediction
Cool.
is literally Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
but it's a Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Stephen? Not everything needs to be subverted. Okay.
Yeah.
It's worse,
But we'll see.
Dragonfire or Wildfire?
Ooh, that's true. I think, yeah. Yeah.
Wildfire's got to be worse, right? It's like naturally
It's like,
explosive and doesn't
yeah,
ever go out,
it
right?
doesn't go out. Yeah. But I think maybe the Dragonfire burns hotter. Maybe.
And yeah, it does seem like there's some level of like explosivity to the Dragonfire as well from
That's true.
I don't
Yeah.
know,
Like
or maybe it's just like blowing up other stuff
Well, yeah, but
around.
when like
saw
Sunfire
when
crashed, there
Sunfire
was like,
fell.
yeah, there's like
It's like a
an
bomb, yeah.
explosion. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some fuel in the dragons. I mean, I guess that makes sense, right?
They need some way to produce the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining again, Hayden. And letting us know what's actually up in this world. And see you guys later.
See ya.
Peace.